we're going to take a look at some really interesting sales data between CGC JSA certified slabs and CGC signature series slabs. And I think you'll find the data really interesting. I was certainly surprised about a couple things, and we've got some interesting points of discussion about signature series in general and sales prices for signatures. And I also want to do a quick little haul video at the end of this. I've just got a ton of signature series stuff in and a bunch of other really cool slabs, so stay tuned to the end of the video for that. We also have those two giveaways monthly here at Bryce Comics here on the YouTube channel. If you subscribe, comment, and like, you're entered to win Gold Todd McFarlane Spider-Man this month in a 9.8, and we're also giving away the first appearance of Noel Venom #3 in a 9.8 for the newsletter giveaway at brycecomics.com. All you got to do is subscribe to the newsletter, and every month you stay subscribed, you're entered to win a new slab. That's also where you get first notification of new inventory when it comes through and special discount codes and the like. So here's the data. Without further ado, let's just jump right into it. JSA versus CGC signature series. So for those who didn't know, it used to be that CGC would not certify a signature unless they witnessed the signature. So they've had the signature series program for a long time, but they had to actually see the signature happen. And there's a ton of comic books out there that are signed by creators and they're not witness signatures. So they used to give it a green qualified label and write on the label name written on cover in pen or something like that. And so CGC partnered with JSA, I think it was about 2 years ago now, 1 to 2 years, something like that. And JSA is a signature authentication service. And so now you can have books that were not witness signatures submitted, and they'll verify the signature or reject it if it's not an authentic signature. And so that's how all of this came to be. And now we've had enough time to where there's a lot of sales have come in to where I felt comfortable doing this video. And so as you'll see right here, right off the bat, you'll see that JSA for this group of books, I think it's about 11 different books here, JSA actually sells for more than CGC signature series. Not by much, it's only about a 5% difference. And some of this can be accounted for by different things, but it's clear to me that there is no noticeable difference. It's basically a wash. And this is congruent with my personal experience selling tons and tons and tons of both CGC signature series and JSA signature series. I don't see any noticeable difference, except the JSA certified slabs seem to sell more quickly. They're actually more liquid, and liquidity is huge if you're a comic book seller. I mean, it's one thing to be able to say that the last price was $5,000, but if you have to wait 6 months to get that $5,000, that's a huge impact on your business. So liquidity is huge, and I think that the reason that JSA is selling, at least anecdotally for me, more quickly than CGC signature series is that for two things. One, the novelty of it. And it ties in directly with the second thing, which is people like the label. When they came out with the label, it's this black and gold label. I haven't heard a single negative thing about it. And if you have something negative to say, keep it to yourself. Actually, I don't even really want to hear it, but it looks good. I like it. I like the way it looks. And I think across the board, for the most part, collectors really like the look of the black and gold label. So that might account for this 5% difference here. Somebody might say, oh, wow, it's a Stan Lee signature and it's got that cool black and gold label. Oh, what the heck? I'll just pay an extra $100 or $200. I don't really care. And that's actually something that's really important with signature series in general, is there's a lot more emotion tied to it. And that's why signature series is less predictable as far as like the value. Sometimes you'll see somebody that's willing to pay a really high premium for a signature, and it might be because maybe they like the signature placement or the color of the pen, or maybe it's just really rare and high grade or something like that. But I have an example here of Avengers #1 that sold, and we'll dive into I want to talk a little bit about these numbers because there's some interesting stuff. But you can see here that an Avengers 1 in a 3.5 signed by Stan Lee in JSA sold for $3,500 compared to $3,400 in the CGC signature series. And this was important for me to see because I wanted to see if it was true for big boy books too. Like would people put big money into a JSA book? And from what I'm seeing, they absolutely will. And this is just a weird example, a weird sale for the same book that sold at my comic shop for $4,500. It's the same book, same grade that sold for $3,500. So somebody paid an extra $1,000. And what's interesting about it is it's not a good copy at all. I mean, it's heavily faded. If you look at these colors here, and it also looks like there's something weird going on with the fading. Like it's not faded on his leg. Like how is it that the entire Thor is faded except for certain parts? But anyways, it's a nice big Stan Lee signature. I mean, it looks cool from a distance. Like it's a cool book. But my point with this is that sometimes you'll see big swings in signature series because maybe, you know, somebody just really wanted an Avengers 1 signed by Stan Lee and they just don't come up that much. So somebody was willing to say, what the heck? I don't care what the last sale was. I just want it in my collection. And so a lot of these, like these ASM 300s, you could see that the CGC was actually a little bit higher in the 9.8, 9.6 Stan. And these numbers here were kind of a little difficult to come by because it had to be the exact same book in the exact same grade signed by the same person that sold around the same time in both JSA and CGC, because you got to make sure that you're comparing apples to apples. And so it took a little bit of hunting, but I probably could have found, you know, 50 more. It just wasn't necessary because it lines up with my personal experiences that there is no difference, and when they come in, I treat them the same. So here we could see a 9.6 ASM 300 signed by Todd sold for significantly more in the JSA label. Joe Rubensheim, JSA was the winner. Venom won gold, a big winner for the JSA. Let's see if there was any big upsets. Here's another big one. Hulk 181 and an 8.5 signed by Stan Lee sold for $1,000 more in JSA versus the CGC. But again, this could be accounted for, you know, several different things. The end takeaway from these numbers is this. I think it's about a wash. I do not think that you should be cracking out your CGC signature series and then having it regraded and JSA certified. Any increase in value that you might get for that would be eaten up in the cost of getting it regraded. So that's not the takeaway here. I think the takeaway is that if you are at all hesitant about the resale value of JSA, I think at this point we have enough data and experience to say that it's about the same and that you shouldn't steer away from it. And if you want to add a cool black and gold label to your collection, you know, I think that I think JSA is just an awesome addition to collecting, an awesome addition to CGC, and I'm just really happy that it worked out like this. And if you're wondering why I didn't add like CBCS signature series to this, it's because, in my opinion, they just aren't even part of the conversation. At this point, I don't think there's any reason to have your books graded by CBCS if you have any interest at all in the value of the books. If you have any interest at all, or at any point in your life you're going to want to get value out of your books, don't have it graded by CBCS. I mean, across the board, they get like 10 to 20% less than CGC, but the bigger problem is it's way less liquid. It's way harder to sell CBCS books. It used to be that they were the only game in town to get a signature series, and that's just not the case anymore. And this isn't me being a CGC fanboy or anything. It's just data. It's just the facts. And as somebody who sells comics, it's just so much more difficult to sell CBCS. So at this point, I don't see any reason to do it. If you have, unless, you know, you have some weird thing against CGC or you like the label more and you never intend to sell it. Or if you do intend to sell it, don't gripe about getting 20% less than you could have got if you had it graded by CGC in the first place. And if you're somebody who's like, I'm never going to sell my comics, my family can deal with that, well, then they're going to have a problem when they go to sell it. At some point, every single book will be sold. And so I think it's important to think about resale value, even if you don't care about it. And I also want to touch a little bit about the value that signatures add, because a lot of people ask, you know, like, how do you know how much value to add for a signature? Well, GP Analysis actually tracks signature series. So you can just come over to GP Analysis, which tracks CGC graded comic books and across many, many, many different platforms. And you click the little sign box and it tracks who signed it and when. And so I treat it typically on a case-by-case basis, because you can't just say a Stan Lee signature is worth X amount of dollars. It depends on the book, and it depends on the grade of that book. If it's a really low-grade book, sometimes the only value in the book is a signature. If it's a really high-grade book, sometimes you can get a massive premium for a Stan Lee signature if it's a one-of-one Silver Age Grail or something like that. So it's kind of a case-by-case basis. I did do a whole video on how much is a Stan Lee signature worth. And you can go find that on my YouTube page. That will be very helpful and kind of breaks it down. And then other creators like Todd McFarlane, you know, he definitely has a high premium, and Jim Lee, you might be able to say it's worth X amount, but again, it comes down to the book and stuff. So the way I treat it when it comes in is I just look up recent sales. I look up what a Blue Label sold for, and then I think about the creator and go, okay, it's a $200 book signed by Stan Lee. I'll probably put it at like $500 to $600, something like that. So it's a case-by-case basis, but there are recorded examples of almost everything. It's usually really easy to find a comp for a book. Even if you don't have the exact book, there's similar books. It is very, very rare. I mean, I could probably count on one hand how many times I was just completely stumped on how to price a book. I mean, we're talking about tens of thousands of books that I've priced, and you can find comps, but just very rarely it needs to be sent to auction to see what people are willing to pay. But in 99.9% of the time, you can find comps. So with that said, I want to take a look at some of this new inventory that just came in. I have a customer who is kind of slowly liquidating his collection. He has a ton of Signature Series stuff. Almost all of it is CGC 9.8, which is awesome. It's you can't go wrong with a 9.8 signed book. It's just cool to have, and they're, you know, vintage comics. So check out brycecomics.com if you want to see a more clear picture of any of these slabs. Really good photos over there. X-Men number 36, the foil edition, double signed. We're going to start here with just some of these crazy Signature Series. X-Men 81, signed. X-Factor 78, signed by Quesada. This one's cool. Fantastic Four 199. It's the multi-pack edition with no barcode there, and it's signed by Chris Claremont, Joe Rubinstein, and Roy Thomas. Triple signed with an awesome Doom cover. I think that's an incredible value on that one. X-Men 35 signed. Some Silver Surfer, some Ghost Rider, that one with a custom sketch, some Secret Wars, some cool variants that you don't see every day on the Secret Wars, like this number 2. And this number 8 is one that I hadn't seen before. Double signed by Paul Renaud and Walt Simonson. A Silver Surfer 2, signed by Stan Lee. That one's awesome to see. Venom Lethal Protector 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And all of them have multiple signatures, like that one. This one here as well. This is number 3. Number 4 is signed by Todd McFarlane and a bunch of others with the custom label. Very cool to see. And number 5 with a whole bunch of signatures, and look at that custom sketch down there in the corner. And number 6 with multiple signatures. We got some Justice League books. The first Silver Age appearance of Dr. Fate and the Hour Man. Cool key for Justice League of America 21. Justice League of America number 1 in a 1.0. A nice entry-level copy. This one has the stamp here, which means that it was originally distributed in the UK, which I think is a cool factor for that one. And I've always loved the Smash Comics trade dress. This one is really cool, very affordable. This is the run that has the first robot cover. That would probably be one of the more expensive Smash Comics, but it's just cool to get an affordable copy with that trade dress. Then we have a crazy run of X-Men. Almost all of them are 9.6 newsstand, with a couple exceptions like this 9.4. Some of them are all newsstands like that 101. We have ASM 300 and an 8.0 newsstand, and this is where the 9.6 run starts for X-Men. We've got number 100, number 99, number 97. Some other cool books mixed in there, like the first Live Wire here for Superman Adventures number 5. And then I won't show all of the Uncannies. There's just a ton of them in 9.6 newsstand. Some cool Flash Gordon slabs that you don't see all the time. Super high grade, 1980s goodness, photo covers. This was an interesting one. And then this one, for whatever reason, sells for more. But they're all just really neat, affordable. Some Ahsoka awesome covers like this, aka Virgin Edition. And this is just absolutely gorgeous. Signed by Rosario Dawson in gold. Ahsoka number 1, the John Tyler Christopher variant. When I first saw this, I said, John Tyler Christopher can draw art like that? Why doesn't he do more covers like that? Like, why does he only do the action figure covers? I mean, this is crazy art. Like, that's so good. But I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. X-Men 130, 9.6, 104 in a 9.6, the poor man's X-Men 1, as I like to call it. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Hulk 340 in a 9.8, classic Todd McFarlane. We got the classic Todd McFarlane Bat 423 first print. This was a gut wrencher. I accidentally put this in the discount section instead of the big boy book section. So someone actually already bought this and got an absolute steal on that one. I hate it when that happens. Look at this, Batman 608 second print, that classic Jim Lee cover. Some really cool Spectacular Spider-Man covers. That's a con exclusive, and the David Nakayama double signed. We got the full set here of X-Men #1 in 9.8 newsstand with the custom label. You got that cover, this one, all 9.8 newsstand, which is a very achievable little run, and man, is it worth it. Look how cool that is to have, especially with those custom labels. Actually, if this is a retired custom label, it might be harder to complete that set with the custom label. I've always loved this cover here for Journey into Mystery 103. And we've got a nice run of Journey into Mystery, including the big boys, number 83 and a 5.0, the first appearance and origin of Thor, and number 85 in a 4.5, the first appearance of Loki. And a bunch of other Journey into Mysteries and a bunch of Thor keys as well. Iron Man and Submariner #1 in a 9.4. Silver Surfer #4 in a 9.0 with white pages. Absolutely gorgeous. This whole box here, except for one book, is Signature Series. A ton of really affordable stuff from the X-Men run. 285, signed by Jim Lee. This one's really cool. 24, is it double signed? Or no, it's just signed by Fabian Nicieza. There's the gold. I almost had the complete set, but there's the gold Spidey Todd McFarlane. Chris Claremont signed on 171. 280 newsstand signed by Jim Lee. That's cool to see. 263 double signed. You guys got to go check out the website. There's so many cool, affordable signature series that make otherwise common books pretty cool to own, because they'll have like 2 creators' autographs on it, like the Silver Surfer Limited Series #1. And last but not least, the Tales of Suspense 58 signed by Stan Lee. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. A ton of this stuff over here has been moved over to the clearance section for 20% off, and tons more on the way. Thanks once again for sticking with me to the end of the video. Don't forget those 2 monthly giveaways here on the YouTube channel. Subscribe, comment, and like, and you're entered to win this gold Spidey. And at BryceComics.com, sign up for the newsletter and get entered to win the first appearance of Null this month and a valuable new slab each and every month you stay subscribed. Thanks so much for sticking with me to the end. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.